We were talking about RPI again, and RPI, you can talk forever about it, and there's all kinds of theories, and we're testing those theories, and we tried one last year, and we're trying a different one this year. But you could it's an endless conversation, to be honest with you.
Without a doubt, and what we were talking about, and I have one more question to you to follow up on our conversation, and we'll just we'll let this go away. But the RPI formula is 25% of it is your win-loss record, right?
Yes.
25% of it is your opponent's win-loss record.
Yes.
And 50% is your opponent's win-loss record.
Yes.
And then I was asking you, do you count as your opponent's opponent, which you are?
You factor into that.
You factor into that. Okay, so my question to you, my final question, when I realized we were supposed to be on the air, was how closely at the end of the season does RPI match the national polls, the rankings that are voted on?
It's actually pretty good. You could probably say that the top 25 teams in the country are going to be about the top 40 in the RPI. And that usually a mid-major will be an RPI 38, but be 24th in the polls, and that's because their opponents are not as strong as the BCS schools, and so they don't get as many points from that, and so they end up dropping a little bit in the RPI. But you also, every once in a while, and you saw it last year with Quinnipiac, you will see a team that has a record like 30-2 that actually bumps up really, really high, like in the top 20 or 25. That really shouldn't be there, but their record is so good that it's bumped them up a little higher than everybody else.
Got you. With the RPI, you control your wins and losses. You can't control the 50% of it's out of your control.
75% is out of your control.
Yeah.
You control your winning percentage. That's 25%, and so 75% of it you have zero control over. And I think there's a better way to do it, and I probably could, if I took enough time, probably come up with a way you could do it that would be better. But it's not bad. It's got some flaws in it scheduling wise, but I think one of the things that it really should factor in is the problem that we're having. The NCAA tells us how we should schedule to get the best RPI.
Oh, they do?
Okay. Yeah,
okay.
They'll sit down. They'll come to you. They came into a meeting a couple of years ago and said, this is who you need to be scheduling. And I usually am pretty quick about coming up with good questions, and then I butchered this one. My question should have been, okay, that's what you're telling me you want me to do. I said, okay. Now, are you going to penalize me when I try to do it and can't? Meaning, you've told me I need to play all teams from 50 to 150 in RPI. All right? We've called every school within 700 miles of here that have those RPI numbers, and we can't get them to play. So now what am I supposed to do? Now I can't. So what's my choice? Either don't schedule and don't play games, or you play whoever you can play.
Right.
And so there should be something that factors into that, and how you would do it, I have no clue. But you say we should play the Arkansas States and the Quinnipiacs and the Winthrops of the world. Okay, well, we did, and they say, well, you shouldn't be playing the whoever and whoever and whoever. Well, if those are the only teams you can get to play you, they said don't go schedule the Baylors and Stanfords and Purdue's of the world. That's too high. You need to schedule a little lower than that. Well, you can tell me that, but we get them all on the phone and call them, and they say, no, we're not going to play. Well, now what do you do? So,
well, and a lot of that just has to do with scheduling conflicts. Does it work in a time frame together?
Well, no, that's not.
None of it? Well,
not really.
Okay.
Here's what we've learned that it's come down to is those 50 to 150 schools, some of them have figured it out and some of them haven't. What they haven't figured out is that they don't need to be playing the 2 and 300s, but people fear for their jobs. So they want to go play 2 and 300s. Well, there's others that don't want to take a chance of losing to a 50 to 150, so they'd rather not play them.
Gotcha.
And so now, if you find a BCS school that's, a Missouri is going to be around, 50, 80, somewhere in there in RPI, well, they don't want to lose to UT Martin, who's 100. So they may not play you. Now, Missouri's different. That's why I use them, because they do play us. But there's a lot of schools that said, no, we can't afford to lose to y'all. And we're just going, my gosh.
Are they honest with you?
Sometimes.
Yeah. Well, I guess you appreciate that.
Sometimes they go, we've heard a couple, and I won't mention any names, local people that are probably within 2 hours of here. You can figure that out on your own. We've called and said, we want to schedule you all to play. And they said, no, we're full. Well, then we've got to keep looking for games. Well, we bumped into two teams that we were trying to schedule and said, well, we working out with this school, but we can't get a date fixed, and so we're not sure. And we're going, they told us they were full. Mm-hmm. Well, we're not. No, we're just talking. Well, okay, you're not full. We just didn't want to play. I'd rather a team. We called Arkansas. Mm-hmm. Okay, Arkansas's coach is a friend of mine, mm-hmm. and we said we'd like to play y'all, whatever. And he said, I would love to play you guys. And I said, okay, but let's schedule this year. He said, nope, I'll play when those two guards are gone. I mean, he was flat out open and honest about it. He said, I'll play when those two guards are gone. I said, Coach, you could whip. He said, yeah, we probably would beat you. He said, but we can't guard those two, and what happens if we're off and they're on and they whip us? And I said, I'm not going to do that.
Yeah.
And you know what? I can live with that. Mm-hmm. You're not telling me you're scared of me. That's not what you're saying. You know you're probably going to beat me. I don't want to have to. That's a headache. I've got enough headaches in the SEC with that schedule that I really don't want to have a headache with you guys right now. And I totally can understand and get that. It's if I'm a ding dong, just tell me I'm a ding dong. You don't have to beat around the bush about it. And but I have no problems, and so we're still trying to schedule and go over and play next year.
At the end of the year, most of the time you qualify for the NCAA tournament by winning your conference tournament, or you get an at-large bid. When the committee is looking at at-larges, do they go by RPI, or are the polls and other things factored into that?
A poll, you can throw the polls out. The RPI is going to go. And it's pretty simple. If you're in the top 40 in the country in RPI, you're going to get in the tournament.
Okay. Whether you win your conference tournament or not.
Yeah, you're going to get in. Now, where they do on the bubble teams, those are the teams from about 35 to 45.
Gotcha.
Because those are the teams that when they put them up on the board, they start looking at, okay, what if 35 strength of schedule is 100 points better than 38? Or excuse me, the other way around. What if 38 RPI is 100 points better than number 35? Though 35's got a little better record, the strength of schedule for 38's better. Mm-hmm. They've beaten these teams that these hasn't beat. Well, they end up sticking 38 in and 35's out. That's where you get all the people complaining. Well, we were here. Yeah, but when you get into that little group, now it becomes very subjective. When you're in the top 40, you're in.
You're there.
Yeah, you're in.
Yeah. Okay. We'll take a break. Thanks, Coach. We finished the conversation that we started 15 minutes ago.
Sorry.
We'll come back on Skyhawk Talk from Snappy Tomato Pizza, visiting with Coach Kevin McMillan, looking back to his trip to Pennsylvania with the women's team. And Coach Jason James joins us a little bit later. The Skyhawk men have been at UNLV. Both teams set to play Wednesday. The women's team playing at Alabama against the Southeastern Conference School, and our men's team will take on Sanford. All that tonight on Skyhawk Talk live from Snappy Tomato Pizza on the UT Martin Skyhawk Sports Network.